So let's say this is a bullish scenario whereby the market is forming high highs. So to expect for price to go on, it has to maybe come here, take liquidity, and then continue going up. But the moment it invalidates buyers, the moment sellers invalidate buyers, then that means we are intending to start selling. So this particular point where I've just drawn, it becomes our validation and invalidation point. So this is our highest point. Then this is our validation point. Then this is our invalidation point. So why do we call this invalidation? The reason why we call this area invalidation point is because sellers have invalidated the bulls who are in the market, right? Now, once we have an invalidation and invalidation point, the next thing is to sasa hapa ndio shift inafanyikia. This is where we have a shift point. Let's assume this is either 4 hours or maybe monthly or daily, whichever time frame that you want to use or whichever cycle that you want to focus with. Now, the moment the market does a shift, we need to look for any liquidity that caused this move. Any possible liquidity. It could be type 1, it could be formation type 1, it could be weak overlaps, anything. It could be, and then our entry could either be based on liquidity flip or liquidity engineering. So the moment the market does that, we expect price to do what? We expect price to go back inside to where liquidity was formed that caused this move. So to expect price irudi huko ndani, tukifanya refinement yetu at around this particular area, ndio tuweze kupata entry, tuteremke nayo. Na tukiteremka nayo, the first area that I always like targeting ni where we have the shift point. Then the second TP itakuwa the extreme low that was created. Are we following, guys? Now,
yeah, we are following.
Now, what happens in this case scenario? This is the formation we have. This is the formation we have, for example. This is the formation we have. Hapa ndio area yetu ya liquidity. Hii area ndio ilikosa impulsive drop. So hapa ndio nafaa tukuje tafutie entries to refine, tupate a very nice risk to reward ratio. Sawa sawa. Now, this, if I put my line, this becomes my validation point, then this becomes my invalidation point. I think I have some good examples for GJ. I can use that, and then I go back to gold, gold, so that let me look for GJ. Now, if you look at GPP, JPY, there's this setup. Let me get an example. If you see market in a form structure, it speaks something to you. You see this? Initially, hold on. Nice RRs. Initially, hii market ilikuwa in a form series of, understand, high highs and higher lows. Then price ilifika hapa, ika change narrative, karudi, then ikasell. Now that's an example of a shift and then validation, invalidation point, shift, and then we're good to go. So in this case scenario, which is my highest price level? My highest price level is at this particular point. And then where do we have invalidation? Where do we have validation and invalidation point? As far as I'm concerned, I could even use, let me see, I could use either these. What's the higher? Yes, I can use either this or I can use this. I can use either this or this. So let's focus on this zone as our validation and invalidation point. So let us mark this zone where we are expecting to have shift point. Just a moment. So we have this. Let me show you. We have this area. Then, in fact, one interesting thing hapa juu, we have type 1 formation hapa juu. We have type 1. So on that type 1, We have that. So now what happens if you go to 1 hour? This is an entry maybe that is based on flip, or rather, let's see. If you go to 1 hour time frame, that particular area, my nini is free. I might not be able to do much refinement. So ukiangalia hapo, we have our shift point, and then we have our shift point, and then we have so this is our shift point. Just doing it randomly for the sake of us guys learning, shift point. Then kwa area yetu ya liquidity ambayo ilikuwa huku juu, na hapa tu hii yote ni of course okay, this is our shift point. Tunaona candlestick ime close, unaangalianga the candlestick ime close, the candlestick body closed below our invalidation point. That means we want to wait for price to go back and seek more liquidity, do the liquidation process, and then we go on. So if I go back to H1, what do we have? On H1, kwa hiyo area yetu ya liquidity, I can see we have this is a momentum candlestick, this is a red candlestick. So me, whenever I spot a liquidity flip and liquidity engineering, I will always go for liquidity flip, because liquidity flip is always stronger than, based on my back testing, is always stronger based on what do we call it? Based on based on my liquidity flip inakuanga stronger kuliko liquidity engineering. So nikispot liquidity flip na kuna liquidity engineering, I will go for flip. So and whenever you have a setup like that, you should just ukiwa na setup ya liquidity flip unaweka stop loss yako kwa hiyo candlestick yenye ilikuwa momentum, you can put it there, then you're good to go. But sometimes one thing from my back testing, an SL of 15 to 20 pips is not bad, because the most important thing you're targeting is, so ukimesha hapa, if you measure how many pips are these, sorry, these are like 28 pips. It depends. Let's say you have can have your stop loss a good one in 15 minutes. I don't know if my data will allow. If my data will allow, then we'll be able to refine it better. So kama shift yangu iko hapo, naweza can decide to put my SL here, but najua watu wengine ni waoga ama niweke hapa. At least let me just say, as an SL of 15 to 20 pips is not bad. Because hata ukiangalia what happened, the market came back later on, then it tapped. That is an SL of 15. Hata ukiweka 20 pips, you are safe. Then let's go back to 1 hour. Then we look at what happened. So ukiangalia hapa vizuri sana, if you are to target where we had a shift point as our take profit ya kwanza, already that is an RR of 1 to 11. If you have a nice trade account and maybe you have a prop firm, mengia, but easy vitu guys, we don't need to stress ourselves. Just get capital and do proper risk management, get high probability setup, execute the trade, and life becomes so sweet. You don't have to really frustrate yourself. So what happens? The market drops. If you were to target the chini for a swing, we target the most extreme the next area of liquidity. Like for me, I could see we have a type 1 hapa chini, here hapa, sorry, we have a type 1 here. Kwa hii type 1, hiyo ndio ingekuwa area yangu yenye mtu na focus nayo. I'm talking about this zone. These are type 1. So if you were to target that area, what happens? The market dropped all that. Those are how many pips? 600 and around 660, 664. If you check on how long it took to the trade to execute and to move all the way up to that point, that one ni how many? It's ngapi? 9 days. It's like 1 week and a few days. So one thing I know that is a challenge to many people is patience. But once you master patience, your life becomes sweet. So I think we are good to go. So yes.
Kuna swali hapo juu.
All right.
Ndio ulikuwa daily ama ulikuwa na time frame hapo? Niko na swali. Hii nilikuwa na change of character video shift. Zilikuwa
ukiangalia vizuri.
Ulikuwa na formation ilikuwa na message shift, na sasa ukarudi hapo juu. Niko na swali. I don't know which time frame it was.
Si ndio hapa time frame
hiyo pullback.
Ndio time frame hapa ni daily.
Hebu weka daily.
Si tuko
Nataka ile
daily,
shift ya kwanza huko juu.
Oh, unataka hii shift,
So daily.
si ndio hii shift ingine hapa juu. Hapa. Unasema hii.
Si ile ya kwanza.
Ya kwanza gani my
The
brother?
original one.
Original shift. Hebu angalia chat yako vizuri.
Ile yenye inaonyesha
Okay.
nini one liquidity.
Unaona whatever you are seeing on the screen, Kim, this is a shift and we have type 1 hapa juu. What I was just doing is going to 1 hour to refine. This is daily time frame. Let me repeat what I said.
Okay. Okay, hebu rudi kwa 15 minutes and then the same to the same to. I think swali yangu iko hapo. Same chart to 15 minutes. Okay,
yeah, same chart.
Sure. Okay. So after the shift, normally ukisema shifts imefanyika, I think shift is the same as change of character. The breadth of the structure. So normally utatake trade kwa hii flip zone ya kwanza hapa, hautaitekia hapa juu, unaona? So what like confluence imefanya uchukue hiyo setup on the original shift ya daily, usichukulie maybe hapa kwa hii retracement ya the first, the change of character. Obviously ungechukulia kwa change of character, ungekuja hapa isell around 1 hour 2 hour then cycle buy, ndio? So what confluence imechangia like hujachukulia hapa the first sell after the change of character, umechukulia kwa the original shift huku juu kwa area of liquidity.
A very nice question. Ngare, are you in this meeting? I want you to answer that question.
Yes.
Unaweza jibu hiyo swali?
So, kama naweza kuangalia chat vizuri.
Are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I think I can.
Let me unshare so that you share the screen and then we'll find it the same setup and then you answer that question finally.
Easy. Okay, I'm about to share my screen.
All right. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Let me see. Guys, are you able to see the screen, Yangare?
Bado.
Okay, just a moment.
Yeah, even in there. Okay.
Now, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen now. Ni GJ.
Okay, I think we are in the. Let me just change. Okay, I hope hakuna mtu mwenye nimechoma macho.
Kutu sawa.
So ideally, let me just clean the charts. So ideally, you guys saw a shift hapa, the daily shift, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, this is your study.
Go specifically to GJ.
Personally, I usually prefer Pepperstone ama forex.com kwa ajili hao mabrokers wana printingi candles zenye haziko kama mumai note.
That's why I also personally use the forex.com. Wait.
So ideally, I think the setup that you are talking about is this one over here, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
So if you look here, there was a shift that took place over here. Yeah, clean shift. This is make sure you're aware this is the daily time frame. Eh? So once you identify a shift here, once it's identified, actually change the color. Once you identify the shift, now your work is to search for areas of liquidity and all that. Yeah. If you're very much keen, hapa kuna overflow. So ideally, you'll be searching for entries hapa hivi within this. So from the daily, to move to the 1 hour, yeah?
Time frame coordination.
Okay. This is where all the magic will be happening. All right. I hope kila mtu hapa hivi, yeah?
Yep.
So once you see the shift taking place here, ideally this kuna watu wenye walijaribu kuingililia hapa initially, they got money, but kama walikuwa wanafikiria ni hold long term, wakatekewa out unless they had this massive stop loss, which I would not advise. So ideally kila mtu sasa tunafai kukaa hapa, yeah? Tunafai kuwa keen on this area, yeah? So when we come on this, unakam kuangalia hapa hivi, initially on the daily time frame you saw me mark the overflow, alafu hapa hivi, you guys, once you see wicks zimekam like after a bigger scandal, kuna this specific week hapo kuna liquidity mingi imelala hapo, a lot of liquidity imelala hapo. Alafu the good thing about forex ni the candlesticks will always tell you a story, yeah? So now that we have identified this area of liquidity hapa, tuko na liquidity hapa, unakuja unaangalia, I would advise you to switch to candlesticks, because candlesticks usually tell you, at candlesticks, the line chart, the body closure of the candles zinakuambianga story mzuri sana. So over here we are at the 1 hour, eh? And ideally this is how I usually draw stuff, eh? Where did we get the initial push to the upside? Hawezi kasema ni hii, because it came up then came back down. So this is where we got this initial push to this upside, yeah? Then ikakuja ikabreak hadi huku chini, yeah? So once you've identified this area, you move back to your candlesticks. You identified this zone, eh? Ideally I assume kila mtu hapa anajua about flips and what not, hizo vitu zote, yeah? So ideally tulikuwa tuna expect price ikuje ikam hivi. I didn't expect hii kitu ati ikuje iendelee kushuka. It broke, eh? After imeshuka, we have this clean zone over here, yeah? Because ideally hapa kuna QM, if you are aware, eh? Kila mtu anajua QM ni nini hapa. Hiyo ni assumption yenye nina make.
So watachanganyikiwa, acha tuseme tu liquidity engineering.
Perfect. Liquidity engineering.
Yes.
So since kila mtu anajua what's liquidity engineering, yeah? Liquidity engineering took place, yeah? Over here, you thought price was going to go up, it took away all the sellers, kwa people had placed their selling limits here. Other guys had buy stops. It gave them, watu walidhani itaendelea kupanda, wengine walidhani itashuka, ikachukua stop losses, alafu ikakuja ikachukua stop losses again. So ideally kila mtu anajua about all that, yeah? So this is what got the push to the upside, yeah? So this is our key zone when we're looking for sells, because this is what made the liquidity to engineer to the upside. So ukiangalia vizuri, we have this key zone over here, yeah? I initially marked it, yeah? So once tuko kwa 1 hour and the shift happened here, so we're just looking for areas to sell huku hivi. Like I told you, the line chart akianani hizi manini gaps zinanibo, but assume hapa kuna kicandle to the downside, yeah? Sitaki kuswitch sana. So once umeona there's this candles hapa hivi, yeah? And it's moving down, alafu we got this initial break. This zone is a key zone over here, because this one, you remember I told you guys hapa, it pushed to the upside. So this is the candle that got the final push to the upside before it took deep. So this is also a key zone, and that's what you should be paying attention to.
In short, you should just, in short, waambie tu ni flip ndio, yani, understand?
Yeah, waelewe easier. Yeah, kwa juu ukiangalia hapa in the 1 hour time frame, yeah? The price was moving up. Ulikuwa unexpect kuja hapa, and then it pushes back up, but it didn't. So it created that environment. Let me move to a different time whatever. I hope hapa mnaweza kuona better. Hapa ndio tulipata that key ya ku move to the upside. This is a 2-hour time frame. I usually work on different time frames. So once it push to the upside, you're expecting price to come buy, but it didn't buy. So my mentor told me one of the best setups is a failed setup, flip. So you got this trade here simply because there was a flip. This is a 2-hour time frame, so ukienda kwa 1 hour unapata the entry better.
Ngare, can I say something?
Over here. I hope hakuna mtu mwenye kama umechanganyikiwa, please. Yeah?
Ngare, let me insist on something.
So since it didn't push up, we'll expect to come back up. Yeah. Please pick up. Internet yangu shida ama umepotea?
Internet yako ndio mbovu. Hebu